Welcome back, everybody. I'm here with Tesla's least expensive vehicle, the Model 3, and their most expensive, the Model X. What's the difference? What's the $70,000 difference, and is it worth it to step up and get that one, or are you good to go with this one? Of course, everything is based off of needs, right? So if you don't need a bigger vehicle, then the Tesla Model 3 is a win-win. But the way these two are configured, this one is $70,000 more expensive than this one because this one has the 7 seats, this one has the red color, and this one has full self-driving. Now, you can get full self-driving on this, right? But if you were just looking at the base Model 3 and the base Model X 5-seater, it's a $50,000 difference. And what are you really getting for that $50,000 difference? What is it? Well, first of all, this one, if you qualify for it, you can get the $7,500 tax credit. On this one, you cannot. It's over $80,000. It starts at $85,000. They do give you unlimited supercharging, which is good, which is great if you use it, if you're the kind of person who will use it. Just to start it off, the biggest difference, and it's literally the biggest difference, for that $50,000, you get a bigger vehicle in the Model X. Now, I'm 6 foot tall, and probably the worst part about having this Model 3 is getting in and getting out, because I have to get low and I have to get high. And it's not too bad, but you know, when you do it enough, it's like, all right, you know, it's kind of wearing on my knees, my back a little bit, just a little bit. This is a bigger vehicle. It's a lot easier to get in and out of. But a Model Y is comparable in size, so if that's the case, then you might want to get a Model Y. But if you want a bigger vehicle, absolutely, you have to go with the Model X. And if you want a 6 or 7 seat, if you need more than 5 seats, your other option is a Model X. Now, they do have some Model Ys that are 7-seaters, but they're not really that much room in them. So having that option of more seats, yes, that's what you get for $50,000. Also, just looking at the exterior, they both have the Tesla DNA. They both look similar. Of course, you got a different grille here. Little things like that, but you know that's a Tesla. You know that's a Tesla. But overall, the theme continues with more space. Now, neither one of these have powered frunks, but to continue with the theme of more space, this frunk is huge. I think it's the largest one that Tesla offers. It's bigger than than the Cybertrucks. When you look at a Model 3, right, it's smaller. So again, bigger vehicle, bigger frunk. Will you use the frunk? That's really up to you. I do use it, but I use it more in my Cybertruck because it is powered. This does take more work, right? But look at that. You can put a whole lot more in here, so it's a little more functional. But again, everything you still need to do manually. Big difference there. Of course, when you talk about the boot, like our friends in the UK say, the trunk, well, let's compare that. Again, needing more room. Now, this is not a hatchback, right? So just this part comes up and you have a smaller area to fit things in, right? So here you go. It's a smaller trunk area. Those seats can fold down, of course, and there's sub-trunk storage here. And it's serviceable for a smaller sedan, right? But if we look at the rear boot here of the Tesla Model X, we open that up and this whole hatchback comes up. So you do have more space to get things in, but it's not as much space as you would think. Now, if you had a 5-seater, let me go ahead and remove this. If you have a 5-seater, you have all this space, which is more room than a Model 3, but also you can lay down that middle row and you have even more storage space, of course. And the sub trunk is bigger as well. So that theme continues. It's a larger vehicle as far as storage, as far as seating, right? So you're more comfortable. But for $50,000, ooh, All right, what about the next thing? The Model 3, like I said, is low to the ground, and they have improved the suspension on the newer Model 3s. It's a lot softer of a ride, a lot more comfortable, but I will say there's no comparison to the air suspension on the Tesla Model X, on the Cybertruck, and the Model S. But $50,000, but it is a more comfortable ride. Comfortable, more comfortable. $50,000. Another thing is you have the Model 3 and Model Y handles. Press it in just like that and it opens up. Let's try that again. Takes a little getting used to, but it's pretty easy, pretty basic. Not that many moving parts, so it's easy to do. And if you are not familiar, these are buttons, right? Press it in just like that and it opens for you. Closing it, right? Press the button, it opens for you. But on the driver's side, here's where the magic happens. You do have to enable this, and some people don't like it. But as you walk up to the Model X, it notices you, it recognizes you, and it opens for you. That's a luxurious feature, right? That's nice to have. Some people hate it though. I love it. You know what I mean? I absolutely love it. And of course, if you open it, you could either press this button to close it, which I do frequently, right? Because I accidentally left it open. Or let's say you come over to it and, I mean, this is just being spoiled, right? So it's like that, and you get out the car, you're walking away, and now you're walking into 7-Eleven. You didn't close your door. Why? Because it closes by itself. I rarely use that. And really, that's just a floss thing, right? It closes by itself. But that's really dope. But for $50,000, how many times am I gonna say $50,000, right? And once you get inside, you don't even have to touch the door. You can easily just step on that brake and it will close for you. I'm gonna show you that. Right, while you're getting ready to roll out. All right. The other killer feature that a lot of people talk about, and it's pretty obvious, and it's an iconic feature, the Falcon wing doors that some people say are a gimmick. They are absolutely not. They're great to have because look, I'm gonna show you my head. Look how much space I have, right? I have clearance. I can get in easily. If you have a child that you need to buckle in, you can put them in easier. If you have an elderly person, they can get in easier. You don't have to worry about the door hitting a car when your kids are trying to get out. Every single time, I don't care how old they get, I remind them, look out before you open that door. Be careful when you open that door in the other vehicles. Because, you know, kids gonna be kids, and sometimes they're just, wow, they're excited, they wanna get out, right? You don't have to worry about that with this. The door opens up, and I made a video on how tightly cars can be with these opening up. But more moving parts, and I have had issues in the past with my Falcon wing doors, but $50,000? Pretty dope, pretty iconic, but I don't know if that's worth $50,000. Rear screen in here, which is a cool feature. There's a rear screen in the Model 3. It might be a little smaller, I don't know. But yeah, it is a little smaller, but there's a rear screen there, right? I went with the light color seats on both. That's white, this is cream. But another feature that the Model X has, this is the second largest screen at 17 inches diagonal. It's great to have all that extra real estate. This and the Model S are the only screens that can automatically adjust or powered. You can go right, center. I keep mine to the left. Why you might use that, I guess different things. Somebody might be in your passenger seat and they might need to see it more than you. Maybe if you're parked, I don't know. But I like to keep it facing me. Being so large, it's a lot easier to reach the corners when you're driving, right? And having a huge screen is nice. But of course, and all the doors can be controlled from in the screen. And of course, having this traditional instrument cluster display behind the wheel. Now, of course, you can add that in, aftermarket on the Model 3 and the Model Y, but having it is nice. Now, some people miss that at first in the Model 3, but once you get in here and start using it, like, it is nice. So you have different things that it'll show you. But what I really love in the latest update, when I signal, look at that. It actually shows you your blind spot camera right here in front of you. So if I signal right, there it is. And yes, on the Model 3 and Y, it's on the screen, and it's not too hard to look from here to here, but it is very nice and convenient to have it right here. All your pertinent information is right here in front of you, and that leaves more room for maps, music, whatever else you need here. And it is a nicer experience driving in the Model X. One, because of all this, and I'll talk about the steering wheel in a minute, but also look at that windshield. You feel like you're out in nature, out in the open. Let me show you my headroom. Plenty of headroom right here. You see that? Plenty of space, very airy, very spacious, very quiet. This being one of Tesla's premium vehicles, I have the premium audio, which is fantastic in here. A lot of people talk about the Cybertruck's audio. The Model X audio is pretty good too. I had it low, but I had people sitting in the back like, hey, can you turn down the radio? I couldn't even hear it, but they just heard the sub, right? They just heard the bass, and they're like, it's too much. So I love the audio in here as well. But having this huge windshield, heaven forbid it doesn't break, having the traditional wood grain that keeps it classy, having the second display, having the powered display, having about the same amount of storage in here as the Model 3. But overall, it's very comfortable in here, very spacious. Feels like the most luxurious Tesla out of all of them. What I do not like, though, the buttons aren't actual buttons that you depress, right? They're capacitive, kind of like your cell phone, right? The haptic feedback, there's a little vibration motor. You don't actually press in the buttons. The horn's in the center where it's supposed to be. It's a nice, big, round wheel. And of course it has that vane. But overall, the experience in here is very nice, very comfortable, very quiet, very cozy, and the drive is nice. But $50,000? Ooh, let me hop over and show you inside of the Model 3. And both of these vehicles have hardware for, so the latest hardware. And you can already see it's a lot lower, right? It's a lot lower, but I'm gonna show you how I get in still, right? Only 6 foot tall, but still, it takes some manipulation getting in here. Again, I have plenty of headroom. I'm gonna close this. I have plenty of headroom still, but we have a more traditional windshield. Nothing wrong with that. We have a smaller screen. I believe it's 15 inches. I can't remember. But again, it's big enough. You only have the one screen, so everything kind of, I wouldn't say is squeezed in here, but there's less real estate. Definitely noticeable, especially when you have every single thing from 2 screens on there onto 1 screen here. Again, wireless chargers, about the same amount of storage. That's not different. What is different is the steering wheel. These are buttons. Listen. I don't know if you could tell, but you can see how it's kind of moving. Watch it. These are buttons, which is better when you're actually driving and you will need to feel it. Yes, they give you a vibration motor, but this is nicer. It's more satisfying, in my opinion. But again, that's one benefit of this car over that car. The steering wheel is a little smaller, but overall it's a smaller vehicle. 6 foot tall, bigger man. I'm a little more hugged in this car, from the seats to the legs, but it feels cozy and it does feel comfortable. I feel like the car loves me. It's hugging me. But overall, I feel lower to the ground here, which did make me a little uncomfortable when I'm driving around because I'm worried about accidents. And I was in an accident in this vehicle, and it was rock solid. But it's just the illusion of being low to the ground, being smaller. Like it will, not be as safe. But we all know that Teslas are all safe. So that's very interesting, something to note. You do feel higher in the Model X, but $50,000, you get what I'm saying now? They do have aftermarket screen, and it's not the hardest thing to reach this corner, but they do have aftermarket like screen mounts where you can rotate and swivel it around. The glove compartment is about the same size, but overall, being the least expensive Tesla, the audio is not as good in here, not even close. It's more front heavy, lacking in bass, very, what would I say? That's more full bodied, more rich. This one's a little more tinny, a little more thin, but it does sound good. All right, you notice how I stress that, good. That sounds great. Good and great. If you're sitting in the back seat of the Model 3, it's kind of weak sauce. So, as you see here, having the latest hardware, everything else is very similar, but look how much smaller the map is now, right? Is that a deal breaker? Absolutely not. And just driving around, like I said, it is way more comfortable of a ride than in the previous Model 3, the previous generation. The refresh feels a whole lot better. And we also have the lighting. I don't know if you care about that. Some people think the Model X needs to be refreshed, and they say because it needs steer-by-wire, which is on the Cybertruck, which is cool. And they also say it needs the lighting, which I don't know if that's true. If they can make it elegant, that's cool. Like in here, it seems like it fits. It's a little more fun. It's a little more, a little more dynamic. In the Cybertruck, same thing. I had the Mercedes EQS, and it has the ambient lighting, which is kind of cool, but it's a little tacky. I don't know if the Model X needs that. Steer-by-wire would be great. Yes. Thumbs up, give me that. But I don't know if it needs a refresh. I don't know if it needs this lighting like this, right? But the comfort, once you're in the Model 3, it feels good. Now, the question is for $50,000. And, of course, that one's more powerful, right? The performance of that Model X is much better, much faster. The handling, though, the handling of the Model 3 is a little tighter. And, of course, being lower to the ground, closer to the road, it's a more driver experience, right? It's more tuned for people that's going to get out there and drive. That feels more like a yacht, like you're rolling, you're chilling. So it's really what you want. But for $50,000, I keep saying for $50,000, you really got to think about it. Is it worth it for those upgrades? Oh, that's a lot of money. You can get a Model 3 and a Model Y for the price of one of those Model X's. But remember, depending on how long you're in a vehicle, how long you're driving for, how often you use your vehicle, it might be worth it to you to upgrade and spend $50K, especially if you need the size, especially if you're a bigger person or if you have, bigger kids. My 3 boys can fit back here, but if we're going to LA, we're making a little trip, I like to take either the Model X or the Cybertruck. So you have to factor that in too. But for $50,000, now, if I had the choice of getting one Model X or a Model 3 and a Model Y, I would probably get the Model 3 and the Model Y. One vehicle versus two, that's a no-brainer. But if I just needed one, of course, that's a better vehicle to me. It's a more premium vehicle. And overall, it fits my needs better. But you're saving a lot of money getting this. And you're really not losing out on too much. You don't get a lot, but you're not losing out on too much, and you will absolutely be happy with the Tesla Model 3. But hey, there's of course little things here and there that I probably messed up, but those are the main things that that I can think of. The headlights you could talk about. You could talk about just the overall experience, and $50,000 is a big difference. Hey, thanks for watching. I appreciate every single one of you, and don't forget, Cobra told you. All right, y'all.